Welcome back to Ministry.Mom.Medicine. I am your host, Dr. Brittany Taylor, and I'm so happy you're able to join me for my 19th episode. In this episode, we're going to make it a little bit more flavorful. It's going to be healing minds, raising mind, residency, resiliency, and single motherhood. Yes, in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing my journey as a single mother in psychiatry. Yes, as a resident psychiatrist as that. So last episode 18, I was kind of sharing my experience as a single mother in ministry. And so you all know how we do the three, Ministry, Mom, Medicine. And so now we have to talk about the medicine part on today. So let's take a pause right there because I said a lot and it's going to be a really quick episode where I'm just going to share not just my experiences as a resident, but really the things that I've learned since being in residency as a single mother. Residency is something different from being a practicing physician because you're under the direction of supervision of another doctor, and it's very rigorous, meaning like it's very taxing on your body, on your mind, because you're working many hours, and oftentimes you're not getting paid what you're working, okay? It's training. And so that's one of the main difficult parts that I have when it comes to being a resident, because I don't have as much quality time when it comes to being a mother, and also I don't feel like you're getting really what you deserve. You work all the time, meaning sometimes I'm pulling 12-day shifts, meaning I am working every day for 12 days straight and finally having a weekend off. And so like this was my weekend where I was finally off from working 12 days straight. And then from there, like I said, you're doing the work, you're doing the notes, you're seeing the patients, and you don't really get the salary, okay? Residency, if you Google residency salary, is a lot different from when I graduate, of course, from my residency program and go out to practice as a licensed psychiatrist. I'll be getting paid a lot more. But residency is one of those things where it's like, every doctor has to go through, and every doctor who goes through it complains about it because it's something that no one really can prepare you for because it's exhausting. And so you hear the difficulties I'm describing residency as, then you also know as a mother, a single mother on top of that, it's exhausting sometimes as well because you're having to make sure things are very well taken care of and managed well through I have to make sure everything is managed well through my household, make sure my son is straight when it goes times to go to school, take care of responsibilities. And so I say all that to say just to allow vulnerability to happen, but also bring things to light of how I understand when people go into residency, why they may allow their children to stay with their family, because it's difficult even when they're in medical school. Because most of the time when you see people talk about how they had their child young, they made sure their family kept their children because of the fact of it's very difficult to do both. And so that's why I just thank God because I've been able to do both and be successful at it, but it doesn't negate the fact that it's difficult, okay? And so this is me just sharing with you all that it's definitely difficult, but it's doable. And if you don't have strength, I know for me, if I didn't have God, I couldn't do it because through Him, all things are possible. And so in this episode, I'm just going to share you all with 5 lessons I've learned or some tips or advice for you all who may be considering going to medicine as a single mother, or you just needed some encouragement with whatever career or professional thing that you're juggling and just want to know how you can manage it. Okay, so let's get started. So my first piece of advice that I've learned over this journey of being a resident psychiatrist and a single mother is that I have to know my limits, okay? You have to know your limits. I used to be one of those people who felt like they were invincible, that they can do anything. And yes, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, but I am human, okay? I have weaknesses, I have flaws, I have limitations, okay? Times where I am exhausted and I just cannot keep trying to add more to my plate. And so that's where I have learned that no is a powerful tool for me. I've learned that I can't sign up for everything because anyone who knows me, when I was in college, I used to do anything and everything, sign up for all the clubs, and I loved it and I was successful at it. But now I realize I have to prioritize what is important to me on my plate that I have. And the most important thing for me is making sure I'm very present with my child. And so I have to understand that I have limitations as a mother. I have limits. And so with that, that means that yes, I say no, and also means that I don't sign up for everything anymore. And at first, I was really sad by that because I'm like, man, that's not fair. I want to be able to do all these things, but at the end of the day, being in residency 4 years is only temporary for me. But my son, this is permanent for me, meaning I want to make sure I'm very much invested in his life. And so I may have limits on myself, but this is just to show him that there's no limit on him. And so this is just a true testament of just understanding why it's important for us to have faith, but also understanding that though I have limits, it does not mean that I am not strong. It does not mean that I can't do it. It doesn't mean that I won't be successful. It just means that I have to balance this a little bit better. And so my balancing better may just mean that I take off things that is not necessary for me to continue to carry. So that means I don't get to hang out as much. You know, some people, they're able to like go get off of work and just, you know, kick it downtown and do X, Y, and Z. Whereas me, when I get off of work, I'm picking up my child. I'm making sure we have dinner. I'm making sure we're prepared for the next day. I'm making sure we're prepared for whatever's on our calendar. And so I have learned to be very organized in this manner, because when I was in medical school, that's when I first got the start of like, this is me and my child, and we have to make sure that we stay on top of this. And so it's definitely difficult, but it's doable now, okay? And so working long shifts and long hours, I have to make sure I have the right babysitter in place. I have to make sure I have enough food at the house so he can eat what he wants. So he's not like calling me like, Mom, I want this, I want that. Because he will do that. So keep it moving. And then another thing that I've learned in this part of like having limitations is that I can't volunteer as much. One thing that I really love doing, those who know me, is I love volunteering. I'm all about community service. And that's one part that I find that makes me a little bit, again, makes me sad, makes me feel like, burdened down a little bit, because those are one of the ways that I could pour into myself. And so what I have tried to do is integrate Zion into the volunteering. So if it's a volunteering event that children cannot be a part of on the weekend, I'm more than likely not going to sign up for it, because weekends are primarily my son and I's time. But if it's a volunteer event or a community engagement opportunity I can do and children can be a part of it, I'm more than likely to sign up for it, because I love for him to see me engaging in the community, understand that yes, we have blessings, we're privileged, but we don't want to forget where we come from. We don't want to forget that we have to be able to reach back into the community when we are successful. Because at the end of the day, what I realize, you all, is if I don't know my limits as a person, I will become stretched too thin. And if I'm stretched too thin, I'm no good for my child. I'm no good for my patients. I'm no good for myself. And so knowing your limitations does not mean like that you, how can I describe this? When you know your limits, you know what you can and cannot do. And I think sometimes people feel like when you say cannot do something, it's like a negative thing, but I really think it's more positive now, because you're more self-aware. I think I was one of those people like, I can do everything. But now I'm like, no, I can't actually do everything. I can't. And that's okay. So allow that to be encouragement that as long as you know your priorities, you're good. If you don't know your priorities and you're trying to and you're calling yourself limitless and you can do anything and everything, you're going to be burdened down. You're going to be stressed too much. But when you know who you are, you know what you value, you know your boundaries, you know your priorities, that's when you're able to decide what is a no and what is a yes for you. Second lesson I have learned since being in residency as a single mother is that it is okay to ask for help. I am one of those people who used to have that black superwoman cape on, and I have decided to take it off and leave it off, okay? Meaning I am not ashamed to ask people for help. I'm not ashamed to say, hey, I need more time. I need assistance with this. I first start off with me. I check in with myself and I'm like, hold up, this is getting a little bit too much for me. Like, what do we need to do? I always go to God first and pray to him and ask him for guidance. I also make sure I include my support system, whether it's needing help with financial advice, needing help, whether it's, with Zion, or whether it's just juggling the job responsibilities. And if that doesn't help, I make sure I include my program. It's like I'm at a place now, it's like I have to make sure that, again, quality over quantity. I have to make sure I'm giving my son quality time. And so one of the things about residency is they want you to work all the time. Okay, this is with all residency programs most of the time. But they want you to work when you are at home. Okay? And so with me, I have to make sure that I'm prioritizing my child while I'm at home and taking care of him. And so sometimes notes are not going to be done at a certain amount of time because when I get home, I'm prioritizing my son. And so these are things that I have to do, and I feel guilty about doing it because it's just the way that it is when it comes to being a resident. And so for me, I have to not be afraid to like text my attending or text someone and say, hey, I'm going to be late on this or late on that because I'm doing X, Y, and Z for my child today. And some people are accommodating and some are not. And that's where it's just understanding your boundaries, understanding what you have to prioritize, because what's a priority for you may not be a priority for them. The next thing that I've learned when it comes to this asking for help and being okay to receive help is that God is my strength. He is. But God has given me people who can help me on this journey. And so I can't negate the fact of that this is a place where I don't want to always have to be alone or isolated. You get what I mean? It's okay to have people see me when I am vulnerable and needing help. Whereas in the past time, you all, if someone knew that I needed help, I was very much shamed about it because it's like, reason why I would say that I felt like I was shamed about it because people like to, this goes back to like that old thinking that I had of like, if you brought yourself into this thing, you need to get yourself up out of this thing. And that's not grace given. I wasn't giving myself grace, and that's not the way that God would have me to think. But through learning, relearning, reshifting my mindset, and just becoming more clear and allowing myself to give myself grace in this season, it's just really shifted me, you all. And I'm very, very grateful for it. And the last part that I've learned when it comes to my second lesson is that I can't be afraid to adjust on this journey. Meaning, for me, if someone who is giving me help say, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, and I evaluate it, I'm not afraid now to see if this evaluation that they have given me, if this could help me with my load being a little bit lighter. One of my most favorite quotes that I've stated is that it's not the load that breaks you down, but it's the way that you carry it. And that's from someone, and I'm forgetting their name, okay? But it's not the load, it's the way you carry it. And so with me asking for help and people guiding me on this help and me, allowing God to, take some of this pressure off for me, I know that it's going to be okay and work out for me because I've learned that the way that I may be doing it may be wrong, okay? Third lesson that I've learned since being in residency as a single mother is that I have to focus on what matters most. For me, it is quality over quantity, meaning I love spending quality time with my child. Whereas it's not, because when I was in college, when I first had Zion, like we would do all these amazing things all the time, whether it's just hanging out at, Museum of Discovery, whether it's just going to the park this time. Whereas now, I have less time to do all those things. And so when I have time to spend with him or hang out on the weekend, we make sure that it's worth it. Now, some weekends, Zion just wants to be in the house and play the game. And I'm like, what? We need to go out. But if he's going to be playing the game, maybe I can just be in the living room watching him play the game. And so I've learned to try to figure out the best way to balance this thing of like, let's do this, let's do that, or maybe let's just relax together though and just be more in tune and ask the questions of like, how you doing? How are you feeling? And just, get that out there. Because I realize everybody has something that they want from me or need from me. But the main priority for me is just making sure I'm meeting my child's needs, okay? And from there, everything else can come into play. So school is starting soon. I want to make sure I know his teacher, so I'm going to meet the teacher. I want to make sure I know when his homework. I want to make sure I know when they're going to be having, clubs. Now, not PTA, because I used to love doing PTA, but I can't really do that right now. So just making sure I'm aware of like after school clubs, if Zion wants to do soccer, if Zion wants to do this, like making sure I'm well informed so I can adjust whatever I need to so that he can be well balanced despite me being in residency, because residency is a lot, okay? And then with that, I try to make sure if I'm going to like his game or supporting like an event at his school, that I'm present, okay? When I mean present, I mean I'm not on my phone, I'm not trying to handle, orders for my patients, I'm not trying to, send messages for my patients, like I'm in tune with my child, because I wanted him to know, like, whatever he's doing, and if I can be there, I want to make sure I'm there fully and supporting him, because I'm always so proud of my child. So I love to enjoy those moments. So the fourth lesson I've learned since being in residency as a single mother is that there is no shame in my game. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is people judge. People try to talk negative. People try to make one feel shamed because one is a single mother and a doctor, okay? I tell people all the time, when people see me and Zion, they don't first assume that I am a doctor. Zion, he's happy to share it with everyone. But for me, I've learned that it's not about the DR in front of my name, but it's about the character I have inside of me. And so I do what I do regardless of what people's perception is, because there is no shame in my game. I've learned on this journey, you all, being in residency, that everybody does not want me to succeed. Everybody does not understand how I am successful in doing what I'm doing with a child behind me. Like, people don't get it. And it's not for me to explain how I'm doing it, just to know that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, but ultimately that I will not fail, because God has never failed, and he didn't bring me this far for me to fail or to give up. And so everyone does not want to see me win. Everyone doesn't. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And so with that, I have to be very confident who I am when I enter each space. Now, when I first got into residency, I had imposter syndrome. Like, I was in shambles, you all. I watch old videos of myself. I'm like, what am I doing here? And now I know I'm here because I worked to be here with my child on my hip the entire way, okay? I say that with a smile on my face, because at one point in time, I had so much fear and shame about showing up in these spaces fully, knowing that it's just me and my child here. But now I'm confident, because I know, like, I work to be here. I work hard where I'm at. I get great results. I get great feedback, and it's not about any of that. What it's about is that I work hard, okay? I come here to not play. I come here to become better every day at my job. And when I am done with this program, I want to make sure that I can say that I have put my best foot forward. And so I'm going to go out into my field trying to be the best psychiatrist I can be. That is my goal every day. I like to learn from things that I've done right or wrong. And it's not about perfection. It's about just making sure I've tried my best. And so with that, I know that I will be successful, because my mindset and my work mentality is just give it your best shot, okay? But there's no shame in my game, because I know that I'm working hard, you all. Regardless of the difficulties that I have, I still show up. Now, some days it's hard for me and I may have an attitude, and that's something that I'm working on with myself. But like, not, I really won't say attitude, but it's like I'm not as emotionally available, because I'm trying to reserve what I have. And that's what I'm trying to work on, just understanding that work is workspace, and I happen to be a type of person there, and when I get home I have to be another type of person. But overall, I want to make sure I have enough energy for when I come home to be present and ask my child, how was your day? Because it's just that is, my child is one of the most important things for me, for sure. Alrighty, so my last lesson I've learned since being in residency as a single mother is that I cannot give up. Okay, and that goes the same for you or anyone you know who's a single mother trying to balance their career, trying to balance life. You just can't give up. It gets hard, but you can't give up. Because yes, you have a set of eyes looking at you, depending on you, but you have to understand, part of the dream that you have is not just because you got to take care of your child. This is for me, like, my mind is like, it's not just about me. I have to take care of my child. I have to have a motivation because I have this child. But it's like, these are goals and dreams that I've always had. And so I can't give up, because this is something that I've always wanted. I can't give up, yes, because I have a mouth to feed, but I can't give up because there's more for me. And that's the same for you, or encouragement to any other single mother out there. Like, there's more out there for you. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel on your dreams. But if you have these dreams, though, you have to understand that you have to pace. It's not a matter of like, I gotta chase, get there, because if you do that, you start to negate some of these other things that are important for you. But don't give up. Failure is not an option. Like, there's someone depending. I realize there's someone depending on me, but also I want to be an example of like, I didn't give up, so you don't have to give up. And that's where I just want it to be encouragement for this podcast, for this journey I'm on, is that you can do it. It's gonna be difficult, but failure is not an option, because if you mess up, if you stop, if you quit, just get back up again and dust yourself off. Like, don't allow your final pause. Don't allow your pause to be your stop, okay? Pause and rest if you have to, but get back into it. Get back into it and keep trying again until you achieve the thing that you've been wanting and desiring, especially if it's a goal or dream that God has given you. And so that's really all that I have for you all today. I'm hoping that this episode is a lot quicker and shorter for you, because I'm trying to shrink some of this time that I have for my podcast episodes. So yes, thank you for joining me on my 19th episode of Ministry.Mom.Medicine. And just remember that you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you, and He sees you and He loves you. And if you ever feel like what you're doing is not working, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to a therapist. Don't be afraid to reach out to your support system, because you're not on this journey alone. You're not. And so that's all that I have for you today. You be blessed, and just know that Dr. Taylor is out, but Dr. Taylor is on her. I'm a 3rd-year resident now, so that means I have one more year after this, and I am done with residency. So I know that through residency, I know what type of practice I want and desire, and it's going to be a practice for sure that is definitely flexible with allowing me to take care of my main responsibility, which is my child. Alrighty, well, you be blessed, and you have a good one. Bye-bye. See you next time. Bye.